Some of the things I did not see coming in this decade include a pandemic, becoming a podcaster, and joining a book collaboration. As a first-time author, I felt called to write about my paternal grandmother, Owen Tyler, a Welsh woman I had met only once when I was 8 years old. I remember her as being an activist who filled multiple roles. Being a grandmother was an important and valued part of her identity. What stood out about her was how she showed up as an action-orientated woman, willing to take on unexpected roles to influence change locally and nationally. She galvanized her coal mining community, lobbied the government, utilized the labor union for safer and better working conditions. This left me wondering about the influence of grandmothers. Everyone has a grandmother. Our unbroken matriarchal line reaches back to the very first woman. We build on her wisdom, gifting us with the drive to survive and thrive, no matter our choices, chances, or circumstances. My grandmother's influence was from a distance and mostly anecdotal. I was a lonely child whose biggest escape was TV, to flop down on the ugly couch in front of Lost in Space. I owe a debt of gratitude to Lockhart for a role as Maureen Robinson, a biochemist, for making visible in my childhood that women could be professors, journeying into outer space, and having a career while caring for a family. Because in my reality, I was growing up in an isolated, single-parent home in a country that at that time offered me, as a female, few resources and opportunities. Subliminally, I think Lockhart may have fueled my path into higher education and the C-suite, with a front row seat to her intergalactic explorations, and then man walking on the moon. Clearly anything was possible. Some of the things I did not see coming in my life and leadership were widowhood, law school, and moving from the C-suite to start a social enterprise law firm. Over the decades, I've faced sudden times of reforming myself under severe and chronic conditions. Like that day, I found myself sitting on the floor, surrounded by Lego, unwashed laundry, wondering how on earth life had grounded to such a halt. What now? Well, this crazy idea popped into my head. If I couldn't get a job, why not go to university? Picking up the phone, I called the law school in the city where I grew up. Hello, I'm a Kiwi living overseas and I'd like to enroll. Lady, go away, we're full. Well, that was rude, but I was on a roll. Excuse me, but what is the next law school? And could you give me the telephone number? Humph, just wait a minute. Hang, here you go. Bang. Then I called the University of Waikato and I said, hello, I'm a Kiwi living overseas. I've been made redundant. I'm divorced. My life has turned into the Poseidon Adventure. I think I need to go to law school. How do I get in? Success. Then I found out I had 3 weeks to get on campus. Nobody should have let me into law school. I had been a C student at high school, had no idea how to write an essay, and frankly, at that time, my life was not only upside down, it was underwater. That's what I call a divine wink. I have gained many blessings from an attitude of gratitude for the experiences enjoyed and endured. Having faced the demise of dreams, I have taken the negative energy and channeled new opportunities, sometimes by choice and other times by chance. Law school was a strange combination of both. Facing my overturned sense of purpose, dread that all I could offer was a rerun of my childhood for my sons and daughter, I reached deeply inside of myself for the courage to do a radical rethink, change my life's direction, rewrite the future. Finally, I finished. Over the top of my graduation garb, I was draped in a ceremonial Maori cloak symbolizing women's suffrage. It was full of yellow and purple feathers. Sitting next to me was my 79-year-old aunt, Paternal aunt, Val Riddler, she wore a native cloak of vibrant green feathers in recognition of her elder status. She was graduating with a double degree in feminist studies and anthropology. She had decided to join me in my second year of law school at university. These life experiences taught me, faith it until you make it. Transmute your dark times into wise ways. Remember, you can go or grow through transformational opportunities. Around the turn of the century, I too became a grandmother while in the C-suite. Being a grandmother is an important and valued part of my identity, yet I had a strong hesitancy during my corporate career not to draw attention to being a mother and a grandmother. When I became a mother, there were lots of resources to read and groups to join. When I became a young widow, not so much. When I became a graduate student, there were lots of guidance and groups to explore. When I joined the C-suite and started a social enterprise, there was not much. When I became a grandmother, personally, there were lots of us to meet and groups to join. Professionally, just a deathly silence. The me that is a granddaughter and 21st century grandmother thrives on being curious and adventurous. I feel called to make visible the need to myth-bust meta-stereotypes, to celebrate and validate the power and presence of women throughout the generations. After all, from great-grandmothers through to great-granddaughters, individually and collectively, we are facing gendered and age discrimination. I value that each generation brings their unique ideas, the impactful events that have influenced their life and leadership. We are living in a century with 5 generations in the workplace. Generation Z came on board in 2018. 48% of Gen Z is made up of racial or ethnic minorities. With over 3 million grandparents in the workplace, the American workplace, together with Gen Z, they could well create an intergenerational collaboration, bringing fresh energy and ideas to the issues of diversity, equality, and inclusion. It is time to expand and adopt a new perception of women over 50, a radical rethink of the usefulness of women in post-childbearing years, to recognise their adaptiveness, investment, and legacy leaning. Knowledge bomb. I'd like to share a rich vein of focused research on post-reproductive female leaders. Orca whales are led by grand matriarchs. These pods can contain up to 4 generations. There is a population of 2,500 living in the eastern North Pacific Ocean. They are one of the most well-studied. A 2019 report documented the death of a grand matriarch aged 105. This long-term research of orcas demonstrates the evolutionary effect with the shift to grand matriarch-led pods. Documenting their experience, knowledge bank, and ability to transfer wisdom were essential assets. Social connection meant a higher survival rate for offspring and freed up mothers to educate their adolescent males. They leave the pod to spread the gene pool. These orca grand matriarchs remind me of values-led women leaders who are angel investors, executives, judges, mentors, philanthropists, and much, much more. These women serve an essential purpose that involves their knowledge and experience being transferred into intergenerational wisdom. What a gift of incalculable value. What now? The time has come to let ourselves as women be seen as we grow into living legends and vivid visionaries that invest our time, talent, and treasure into a world that holds promise for current and future generations of all species. Thank you.